Over 10 years to save a deposit. Let's have a look. Hello everyone, Florian.Heise here and welcome to another episode of HeiseSays. Grab your stein of coffee because we need to have a look at this article. This one's from 9 News, just discussing how long it takes now just to save for a deposit. Over 10 years. 10 years. That used to be, if you really pushed hard back in the day, you could pay your house off in that time. Now this is just the time to save a deposit. And think about it, people are starting their life a bit later now. They're settling down a bit later. So it's just gonna get worse. Let's check this out, everyone. Okay, over 10 years. So, time for first home buyers to save a deposit for a property blows out to 11 years. 11 years. So the amount of time it takes for first home buyers in Australia to save for a deposit for a property is blown out to more than a decade as prices radically outstrip wages. Now, we're in the middle of an election cycle at the moment. We haven't really seen anything innovative at all to deal with this. Labor, Liberal, they're both throwing pretty much the same suggestions at the table. More stimulus of the market, buying votes really for those that are struggling to get into the housing market. And Australia's changing. It's sad. I don't think we're going to be a country anymore where housing is for everyone. We're no longer going to be that egalitarian society unless we can find a way to deal with this. We need to. We need to allow people to buy homes, raise families, settle down. That's a big part of our culture and of our nation. That was one of the main points of difference. My father left Europe. He could go to South Africa, America, Argentina. He picked Australia because he had family who came over here and could really give it a crack and had opportunities. Now, what do you have? You can work your whole life renting. Not even have your own home. People are too scared to have kids because they can't afford it. A new report by ANZ and property data firm CoreLogic shows that the median 20% deposit to purchase a property in Australia, which includes both units and houses, is now 147,000. So nearly 150 grand, everyone. That's insane. That should be like half or a third of the price of a house. On a median weekly household income, so household, not individual, of $1,665, it would now take first-time buyers 11.4 years to save for the 20% deposit required to avoid paying lender's mortgage insurance or LMI. Across Australia's combined capital cities, that figure falls slightly to 11.2 years. Oh boy. While across the nation's combined regional centres, it falls to 10.5 years. So a decade of your life saving just to get into housing. We had a house close to us up the street sell for over 1.3 million. It went flat bang for 1.3. And it's just the land. The house is a demo job. It's a demo job. It's just the land. And it's a big block. And I imagine they'd flip it for commercial or medical use if you're smart. But still, guys, it's just getting crazy. And I'm in, suburban Brisbane. Head of research at CoreLogic, Eliza Owen, said record high prices are driving up the significant barrier of saving a deposit. Maybe this is what our politicians want. They want a barrier to people getting home ownership. They want you indebted. They want you working for a decade just to get a deposit. I mean, wouldn't you? I mean, you've been following the crypto, I imagine, if you've been watching the news, and it's been crashing down. Imagine if you were a young Australian trying to save up a deposit and you took your 100 grand, you put it all in Luna or in Terra or whatever, or the Anchor to get that sweet 20% interest because it's crypto. And it's a stable coin, so it's safe, and you just got destroyed. I'll look at that in another video. That's a whole depressing other situation here. But, I mean, think about that as well. We're saving for a deposit. People are going to try and do desperate things to get ahead because now you're earning nothing in your savings account. The national median dwelling value is now an estimated 8.5 times the median annual household income nationally, Owen said. And I'm really happy that in this article they're actually discussing household income, not individual income. because that's how people have always bought houses. It's usually when you're starting a family, a couple gets together. And we're at a time now where you can't really just have one person updating, I'm updating a database right here on another screen and it flashed a message. You can't really have one person working in a household these days. It's a luxury. If you do, you either earn a lot of money and can afford to have one partner staying at home, or you make sacrifices and live a lower quality of life. And some people choose to do that. That's fine. Good on them. But the average is going to be both people working because they have to. So that's good that they're doing this in the article. So 8.5 times the household income. That's terrible. So this is a record high and an increase of 6.8 times since the onset. It's a record high and an increase from 6.8 times from the onset of COVID 2 years ago. So 2 years ago, it was 6.8 times the household income. So either in that 2 years, household income has drastically dropped, which it hasn't, or housing has gone up, and it has. Moreover, the increase in the dwelling value to income ratio was largest across regional Australia, where property prices have risen substantially more than incomes. And we've seen that. That's the green change. That's people getting out of the city and moving to the country. And, I mean, I've seen that with my own family members that have bought in the country. They can work remotely, and they've got, beautiful subtropical little lush retreat there. And I can completely understand. Moreover, the increase, hang on, I'll keep going down. So here we go, years to save a 20% deposit. 11.4 years nationally. 11 and a half years. So you know what this means as well. This is retail spending that's just tied up. You just got to go real hard, guys. You've got to go real hard, cut all of the joy out of life. The report found that the cost of renting in Australia is now almost on par with the cost of servicing a mortgage. More so in rental markets known for their lifestyle attributes. In places such as Bourke and Grampians in Victoria, East Pilbara in Western Australia and Far North Queensland, it is now cheaper to buy than it is to rent. As of March 2022, advertised rents around Australia are around 13% higher than they were prior to the pandemic. Recent research by financial comparison site Finder correlates the sharp rise in asking rents revealed that almost half of surveyed renters reportedly struggling to pay their rent in April 2022. That's the other part of it, guys. This spike in rental costs is putting a lot of pressure on tenants, and it's leaving them with very little money left over for other necessities, said Sarah Megerson, Finder's senior editor of Money. Once they pay rent, life is very hard. Some tenants simply can't afford the rapid increase in their rent in such a short amount of time. And there are even stories of families being forced to live out of their cars or in makeshift tents in the street. We're hearing that more and more. And here's the issue, everyone. Housing supply. The not in my backyard crowd, councils, local governments, making it harder and harder to build. Onerous environmental requirements in the National Construction Code forcing up the cost of housing unnecessarily. If you look at the complexity of a house now compared to one 50 years ago, 100 years ago, you get all these little extra features and things and requirements and reports and all this other bullshit that all just flows up, pushes up the cost. You've got development taxes, mega profit taxes in Victoria. That's going to drive up the cost of property. All of it is. But, people feel good about it. They feel good in keeping Australians out of homes. It's just frustrating, everyone. It's just getting frustrating. Megerson recommended that people struggling to pay their rent try to negotiate with their property manager and do an emergency audit of the household budget. Well, yeah, a lot of Australians are going to realise what's a luxury and what is a necessity. You've got to... There's a lot of doomer news about people struggling, but often going through hard times is the best thing that can happen to you sometimes in the long run. It may be the slap in the face that you need to go, you know what, I'm not putting up with shit anymore. I'm going to get my life sorted. I'm going to get my finance sorted. I'm getting another job. I'm taking the plunge and starting that other business, or I'm going to learn that new skill. I'm earning some more money and cutting all the rubbish out. Or maybe I'm just being too naively optimistic. If you can't afford your rent, and you have a lease now, reach out to your property manager and see if you can come to an agreement with your landlord. Those currently in a house could consider downsizing to a townhouse or unit, as rent increases for apartments have not been as steep. The only problem is there's huge costs involved in moving around. When you're settled and then moving, there's a cost associated with that. That's another benefit to home ownership. You want to stay in one spot, put your roots down. Slash all unnecessary expenses and do an emergency audit of all utilities to see where you can save money on things like energy bills and insurance. So let's have a talk about this. Fundamentally, everyone, is this the Australia that we want? Is this where we want Australia to lead? Where we're now, it's just going to exacerbate the divide between the classes. There's going to be the homeowners, and there's going to be those that don't own a home. And I can't see either political party pushing for a solution. I don't think property is going to crash, not here in Australia. I think, sure, we'll get a correction, 15% over 2 years? Who cares? How much has it gone up in the last few years? Whenever there's even an inkling of any problems in the economy, the government will just plough more money into housing. They'll use it to stimulate the economy. We've seen it happen in the last two epic disasters. Housing. Labor won't be any different than Liberal. You may get some minors in there to mix it up a bit in Parliament. We need a cultural shift. We need more and more people pushing for more housing. We need to make it easier for people to develop. We need to make it cheaper for housing to get on the market. We need to get rid of the not in my backyard crowd. There needs to be a cultural shift. And that's going to be some people accepting apartments getting put up, or units or townhouses in their posh little inner city suburbs. You got to deal with it. It's funny how, the Greens will bitch and moan about housing affordability and then harpoon housing developments. Investors will vote for Greens because they know it'll keep their investment properties higher. You tell me, guys. It's all just frustrating me and getting a bit annoying. What solutions do you think we can have to this? Should we get rid of negative gearing? What about the Housing Affordability Party? I haven't seen them at the election. I'll do a live stream. We'll go through everyone who's running before the election. We've still got time. Anyway, let me know your thoughts on this one, guys. Thank you all for watching. Like, share, and subscribe to the channel. If you're a fan and want to support us, there are a few ways you can. You can financially support us via YouTube or Patreon. Use any of our referral links from Amazon, eBay, Independent Reserve, or AussieBroadband. Or if you need architectural services, give us a call. We've got a lot of resource sector, education, and commercial experience. Take care, guys. Have a great weekend, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now. 11 years, guys. Got to work bloody harder. Push for more housing, more development. Flood the market with cheap housing. That's what we need.